Heal Your Home with Jason Ratcliffe.
Within this episode of Heal Your Home, we're going to be looking at all things Feng Shui and interior therapy. Until now, I had no idea what interior therapy meant or it even existed, but actually it's a really amazing and powerful tool that anyone, whether you're a tenant, landlord or homeowner, can utilise in your own life to make your life and your living conditions better. And I have had the amazing privilege to have a chat with Suzanne Roynon, who has created this book on interior therapy and Feng Shui, which is incredible. It's an incredible read, and I suggest delving into it yourself. And this is what this episode is all about, so I hope you enjoy.
Heal Your Home with Jason Ratcliffe.
So thank you so much for joining me on this show. It's an absolute honour to actually have you on and discussing about all things Feng Shui and your internal therapy, which I'm really, really intrigued about. So I think the best person to introduce yourself and what you do would be yourself. So why don't you give our audience a little bit of a takeout of what you do?
Well, thank you, Jason. My name's Suzanne Roynon. I am an interiors therapist and Feng Shui expert based in the UK, Hertfordshire, but I work across England, the rest of the UK, Europe, America, Australia, basically around the world where people need help to create happier, healthier, more loving homes, more successful homes really. And I do that using a combination of interior therapy and Feng Shui, which it's quite unusual in the Feng Shui world to really be thinking about what you have in your house, as well as fine-tuning the chi energy and the flow that we all know a little bit about, but probably not very much.
Fantastic. So you mentioned about being not just in the UK but around the world. Does it change where you are in the world, or how you kind of, where you're geographically located, where you actually then think about the interiors and how to apply Feng Shui?
You often have to think about the cultural aspects, more so. For example, in the US, they'll have different cultural views about what they need to keep, what they really don't need to keep. The whole world keeps too much stuff, basically. The Western world, it's become so consumer focused, having the possessions, and people don't realize that those possessions are often weighing them down. They're potentially contributing to weight gain, health problems, all kinds of issues around the home. But as much as anything, it's all about the emotional well-being, actually. And a lot of what I'm doing with interior therapy is helping people who have gone through some kind of emotional traumas or health issues or relationship breakups, or the kids are acting up. There's something going on that they can't control. No matter how much money they throw at it, how much therapy, it's not making a difference. So then they bring me in and I can look around their home. Often in 30 minutes, I do a really quick 30-minute video walk around of a home, and I can spot so much stuff that's causing them problems and give them the tools immediately to start working on that.
So for a typical family, obviously we're talking very broad here, but what are the main things that you see in people's homes that tend to have a negative impact?
So a typical family, if the children are acting up, the first thing I'm looking for are loads of photos of them when they are much younger. Because what families are doing in having those photo walls of the children, especially if there's a kid that's standing there with a worm looking like this at the age of 3, and then they get into their teens and they're still behaving like bratty toddlers. What we're actually doing is subconsciously taking the children back to that place where they were in those photographs. And it's like if you look back at your photos from when you finished university, or when you were a spotty football player or whatever, it's psychologically just winging you back to that point in your life. Now if you live with that in and out, day in, day out. That's what your children see when they're coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
That's what they see on the photo wall, in the kitchen or whatever. You're holding them back. And I learned this very, very specifically. I'd had my suspicions, but I was called in by an 80-year-old lady whose kids were all in their 50s.
Yeah.
And they all, they were all very eminent, had these great jobs, great educations, they'd got families of their own. When they came to the family home, they would behave like stroppy teenagers, all of them. It was just an absolute nightmare for her. And she couldn't understand this. She's like, they come in from America, they come in from Europe, and they, they're bank managers and lawyers, and they behave like children. And it wasn't even the home they'd grown up in, so it wasn't that was attaching them. But I pointed out that all along the corridor into her home, the hall, she'd got all of these pictures of them as younger children and their graduation photos. We took the lot down. The next time they were all there, she had a family portrait of them all together as they are now as adults. She's never had that problem again. She comes back to me every year for her Feng Shui updates, and each time she says to me, my kids, they're amazing, they're adults now. It's one of those silly little things, just a tiny thing that you don't think about, but you can fix. And it's it's one of those things I just spot.
I mean, most people, me included, I'm going to change that now. Now I know that, I'm going to say no, because my two are quite young. So, we always think it's lovely to have younger photos of them and memories.
Keep them current.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really interesting. What else kind of, if
And I'm not, I was going to say, I'm not for a moment saying don't keep the photos.
No,
I'm
absolutely.
saying
just don't have them on display.
Keep the photos current, and when they grow out of them,
absolutely, no, completely get that.
Precisely.
You want to keep those
them in a
memories,
special
but
box.
just not. Exactly. You want to keep those
course.
memories, but not in the place where they're
I'm
going to
not
be
that
visually
brutal.
stimulating every day. Yeah, it's the same. I think that really resonates.
Precisely.
Because if you do it for yourself, I suppose, if you put, it's a bit strange thing to do, but if you as an adult were then going to go and put pictures of yourself as a child all around your house, it's not going to make you feel very empowered, is it? It's not going to make you feel like you've grown into a mature adult. It's going to revert you. So I suppose the same thing would happen with your children.
But an interesting thing is, Jason, say for the sake of argument that as an adult you've worked for a company and you've left that company, and maybe you just didn't like it very much. So many people have still got a mug from a company that they hate in their kitchen cupboard. And every time they see that mug, they don't even have to get it out. Every time they see it, they catch a glimpse out of the corner of their eye. It's bringing them down a couple of notches. The release in saying, right, okay, you don't need this mug anymore. Let's let it go.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it was that easy. It was that easy not to, for a fraction of a second, think about when I worked for that company and those people and that manager.
Absolutely.
It's remarkable, but people simply don't realise. Interiors therapy, Feng Shui, it's all about common sense.
Yeah.
It really, really is. But somewhere along the line, we've lost that.
Absolutely, and I really like that idea of the chi and the connection with the furniture or the interior, kind of whatever you have in your home, and how that can bring good energy but also bad energy, and connect it with certain traumas and like you were saying about past employees. I think that's or employers. I think that's really important, because I suppose if you have a nasty breakup and there's certain furniture or gifts that have been given to you and you keep them, it's going to always hold you in that place to some degree. So even when we're not talking necessarily about the home
really
in general,
is.
we're just talking about possessions. They can really weigh you down, and that's a really interesting kind of concept to get your head around.
It is. I mean, you have no idea how many people 10 years after a breakup or divorce are still sleeping in the same bed that they shared with their ex, and wondering why they're not moving forward, wondering why they're feeling stuck or lost, or they're having these dreams about them, and they're stuck in the people that they do meet. If they are, if they're looking for somebody, the people who they meet are almost carbon copies of their ex, and they don't realize they're actually sleeping every night with the DNA of their ex in that bed.
Yeah.
And when you say it to them about this, you're sleeping in this soup of the energy of your ex, and their sweat, the dust that comes off them, the skin particles, it's all in the mattress, it's in the bed, it's in the bedroom. Clean the hard furniture, get shot of anything that attaches you to that person. You won't have them around you to such a degree. You can start healing from that process, and people just simply don't realize the damage that they can do by holding on to things that connect them to unhappier aspects of their past. And this is why I'm absolutely passionate about dealing with this.
Absolutely. I think that really gives a much more valuable connection and meaning to a fresh start, because I think when you think people go, oh, we're just going to chuck out all the stuff that is older or give us bad vibes, but actually that's not just a saying, that's something that really does resonate. And I feel it a lesser degree. Luckily I don't have any kind of divorces or anything, but kind of even just decluttering my office
space.
Don't do it. It's then your work environment feels sort of more organized. You just naturally, you're not surrounding yourself, you're not feeling so enclosed and claustrophobic, and I just find my productivity goes up. So obviously there are people in the UK or across the globe that they don't have the privilege of being able to separate themselves from work. For example, they might have an office in their bedroom, or they might have to work in their sitting room. So naturally you're going to be forced into this environment which isn't optimal, and you're going to resonate with stresses of work when really you should be resting. But how do you advise people to I suppose manage that?
Jason, I'm in exactly that position. Because I travel so much, I have a lock up and leave apartment, which by necessity is quite small. Why would I have a huge space when I'm not here a lot of the time? And that means that my office setup is actually in part of my bedroom. So how do I resolve that? Well, at the end of every night, no matter what, the table I work on is cleared. It doesn't look like a traditional desk. It's a beautiful painted table which works with the energy of my bedroom. It's light, it's airy, it's very, very comfortable, it's quite feminine. And so at the end of the day, that table is cleared. Everything is put away. And so if you walk in after the end of my working day, it just looks like my bedroom. And if I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you. If I hadn't told you that I'm working in my bedroom, you wouldn't have a clue.
No.
But actually over there's a very, very luxurious bed. It's very beautiful. It's very, very comfortable. It's set up on Feng Shui terms. And that again, in the morning, to go from bedroom land to busy working office, then everything is sorted out over on the bedroom side of things, so it doesn't distract me at all. This is then an office space. You can do it. It's easy to do. For me, the important thing is that you put your desk into a command position, that you can see the door, that you have the big picture in front of you. You're not sitting facing a wall, across your desk. That's terribly bad for you. You've got a comfortable ergonomic chair. You have the things that you need around you without them imposing. You'll never find a wall of post-it notes around me because it clutters the brain. Everything is just organized, it's neat, I know where things are. It makes life very, very simple. That is the best way to combine an office space, whether it's in a bedroom, a sitting room, in a kitchen. Just make sure you put everything away at the end of your working day. Very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you said there as well about not having a desk as such, more kind of just having a table or something that if you put things away, yes, it can obviously be used as a desk, but when you put things away, it isn't a desk. I think that's quite powerful, because I've if I've ever had to work at home and it was almost build a home office, I'd always kind of have that traditional setup where you'd have a desk and it would be quite kind of formally looking like a workspace. But you can't, even if you remove that stuff and there is no clutter, in your mind, it still is the work environment. It still is a desk. So you'd always associate that. So that's really quite interesting, where you can then just use something else that naturally kind of gives that positive energy within that room, and you can then transfer. That's there's a lot of people as well that I speak to that say the routine of maybe kind of, if you've got it in your bedroom, coming out of your bedroom and almost getting ready for work and then going back, but it's in your mind, it's actually, I'm going to the office, I'm not going to my bedroom. So it's that those tiny little things. Do you ever find those work?
Yeah, I'd love to say that I get up and I go for a walk and then I come in. More often than not I don't, but it does occasionally happen. Yeah, I think there is an importance in, getting the bed made, getting it all beautiful, clearing the surfaces, clearing the floor, going out, having a cup of tea, catching up with your friends somewhere else, or whatever you need to do before you start work.
Yeah.
I'm in the very, very luxurious position that I start work somewhere between 10 and 11, because that's how my working day works for me. So I'll have spent half an hour or so catching up, and then I'll come and I'll sit down and everything will be here and ready for me to start work. I'll talk to my VA, I'll talk to my clients, I'll settle down and do some Feng Shui reports or whatever I'm doing. I might do some online assessments, and then it all works through very, very nicely. And then I will have a point in mind at which it might be 7 o'clock, sometimes it might be 10 o'clock. If I'm working with clients in the States, then it's just like, right, everything switches off, thank you very much, clear the desk, go and do something else.
Yeah,
very much so. And try and get a walk in somewhere in the day. But yes, having that differential between bedroom and office is really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you mentioned earlier about the command position, about your desk being in this position. Would you mind explaining a little bit more about what that is, what it looks like?
For sure. And this is just as important in an office environment, in a building, in a company, as it is for your workplace at home. So your command position means that you are essentially in command of your environment. You can see the main door to the room you are working in. Whether you see it face on or in your peripheral vision, that doesn't matter, but that then gives you a sense of control. You have a solid wall behind you. Or if you're in a high rise, the glass window, think Harvey Specter in Suits, Harvey has a very, very commanding position in his room. You can see what's going on. You are the boss. Now, if you think about lots of companies where the most junior members of staff are sort of stuck in a corner, facing a wall, they've got their back to the office, that puts them in a position of real vulnerability. They don't know who's coming up behind them.
Yeah.
They can't anticipate, and so if you come and speak to them, they'll jump out of their seat because you've scared them. That is not a healthy way to work.
No.
That's kind of the antithesis of the command position. So if you set yourself up so you're absolutely in control of your environment, then you will have a better chance of doing a really good job. Now, if you're in the situation where there is no option, you've got to put your desk against a wall, it's a tight space, there is nowhere else to put it, and the door is behind you, well, I would say take a mirror and angle it so that you can see the door opening in your peripheral vision, and then that gives you that sense of regaining your equilibrium with your work. Yeah. Same when you're trying to sleep at night. If you don't sleep well and you can't see your bedroom door when it's opening, then that's going to be contributing to that sense of just vulnerability, a fear of what might be around.
So is the command position for the most important thing in each room? Is that what it's used for?
I always think it's a good idea that the main sofa or the chair that the head of the house sits in has that good view of the door, or is in a space where they feel like they are in possession of the space. Centre stage possibly, but definitely the bed. And if you've got children who aren't sleeping well, really have a look at their bedrooms. Are they in control of their space?
Yeah.
Bunk beds especially, absolute nightmare for some children. You'll have the child on the bottom bunk who is really kind of quite stuck and earthbound and doesn't like surprises, finds it very, very difficult. They've got the weight of the world pressing down on them, whereas the kid in the top bunk is a bit flighty. It's where we often find the autistic children. They can't focus, they're not in control of what they're doing. Take the bunk beds apart, put both children at the same level, world of difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just these silly little things that we don't realise we're doing to our families that cause so many problems. And just, simple as taking a child out of a top bunk and putting him in a regular size bed will change behaviours.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what else do you, so for interior sort of therapy then, it's really quite an interesting concept. I really love that. I think that's awesome. What kind of extra things would you look at in a home?
So I'll always start at the beginning of a home. Actually, outside the front door is where we'll start one of our 30-minute consults, and I'll check whether the front door is welcoming. Is it clean? Is it fresh? Maybe have they got plants outside? Have they only got plants on one side? Well, that's telling me that things are already imbalanced in the home. And then we'll go in and I'll look out for dried flowers. Nightmare scenario. If you've got problems in a home, you quite often find that there's dried flowers there. They're creating stagnation, they're harbouring spiders, things like that. So we'll deal with those. I'll look out for those family photos. I'll look for areas where some furniture or something is blocking the flow of energy, or whether there are mirrors that are bouncing energy back out of the house.
Interesting.
Quite a regular thing. If a front door is open to the back door, the energy is going to whoosh through that house and everybody's going to be feeling quite tired and a bit fed up. But one of the things that I love to talk about when I see them is Buddhas, because Buddhas have become this fashion item. You go to TK Maxx, you buy a Buddha, and it's going to make you feel very zen and very spiritual, and you can sit there and you can think calm thoughts. Well, if I tell you that the homes in which I find Buddhas, particularly those in bedrooms, tend to have financial problems, the people in there are lonely, even if they're in a marriage, and more often than not they're also celibate.
Okay.
Now, does that make having your lovely Zen Buddha a good thing? Probably not. If you're a practicing Buddhist, you would never ever be so disrespectful to this, great spiritual leader, to have him in the bedroom, or God forbid in the bathroom. But people do it because it's just, it's just like, well, excuse my French here, don't show him your bum.
So what other things would you see in people's homes that might link to negative impacts, do you think?
Oh gosh, every home is absolutely unique, but I'll quite often find pictures of ruins in homes where there has been a divorce, or they're having major problems. If you get a home with lots of leaks, dripping taps, things like that, that's telling me that there's something really unstable about the financial flow into that home, and it's something that does need fixing. It's not just bad luck. It is an energetic thing that if you don't get fixed, it's just going to keep happening.
Yes.
So leaks are something I look out for. What else do we do? Evidence of decay, or just a lack of care. If you've got to love your home, it doesn't matter whether it's a mansion in Beverly Hills or it's a studio apartment on the Great West Road. All of these places will respond to Feng Shui if you work with them rather than against them. But if everything's looking a bit battered and tatty, you can expect more battered and tatty coming into your life. If your home is kept clean and fresh, even if it's tiny, even if it's an end of terrace in Darlington that costs you £1, if you keep it clean, fresh and tidy, it will respond and it will support you. But if you disregard and disrespect your home, you can expect that to backfire on you in a multitude of ways, not just at home. It might be when you're traveling places, it might be at work, it might be in education, often in your health. So I'm looking out for, as dead and dying plants. That's telling me that your health is probably struggling. And then depending whereabouts in the Feng Shui bagua, we've not touched on that yet, but everybody's heard of the Feng Shui wealth area and the relationship area. But you've also got an area for your health, you've got one for travel, you've got one for new beginnings, you've got career. All of these different areas that if you work with them, you get to really see the benefits. I've got a lovely new client who was bemoaning the fact that she hadn't been away anywhere this year. She had her Feng Shui done in September. She bought this amazing globe. I mean, I'd never seen one of these. My gosh, I want one. She bought a globe. She put it into her northwest, which is the travel and helpful friends area. She's been on 5 amazing holidays since. She's already got another 3 booked for next year.
Wow.
And that was September. You know, she said, I can't believe this has happened. I said, tell me about this globe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Globe,
I need one.
You know? And so it was a case of, right, okay, well, that, you know, that's my Amazon Christmas list sorted.
Yeah, definitely.
Please contribute to this thing. Because I love to travel.
Yeah.
And you can actually activate your travel area just by putting a globe there, putting pictures of the places you want to visit and the things you like to see. And suddenly the opportunity arrives. I had a picture of, I didn't realise it was Houston. It was some high rises, and I put this picture in my northwest in a sort of, I would say, a manifesting board. It's the things I want to do this year board, basically. And so I put this picture in, and I knew it was somewhere in Texas. I probably thought it was Dallas, and as it turned out, it was Houston. And the next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Houston, working in person with some clients for the weekend and transforming this ginormous 6,000 square foot home, transforming the energy of it and bringing it all back to life. The difference in that family in 8 months is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it doesn't have to cost a lot, and that's what's so powerful about Feng Shui and you know that kind of practice, and it's amazing. So you were saying kind of more about kind of the segments and you know, your travel and the fame sections and everything else. Do you want to kind of explain a little bit about what that is?
Okay, so if you imagine a floor plan of a house, and let's make it easy on ourselves and say that this floor plan is either a square or a rectangular. Let's not get into, you know, returns and so on and so forth, or triangle houses. We can talk about that another time. But so imagine you've got a lovely floor plan of your house, and then draw a noughts and crosses board over it. So you've now got 9 equal areas. They could be rectangles, they could be squares, depending on your floor plan. Now, each of those squares will relate to a cardinal direction of the compass. So you've got north, south, east and west to start with, and then you've got northeast, southeast, southwest and northwest. So that is the 8 areas around the outside, if you like, of your noughts and crosses board. In the centre is all about health and well-being. So if your health is a little bit stretched, you're struggling, if your emotional health, your mental health is under pressure, go take a look at the centre of your house, because there's probably trash there, maybe dirty laundry, leaking taps, the recycling, a cupboard full of boots and shoes that haven't been worn for 10 years, whatever. Go and take a really close look, because if your health is struggling, the centre of your home is where you go looking for reasons for that. But then you've got the north, and obviously every home is oriented slightly differently, isn't it? So the north in your home is going to be in a different position in the layout to the north in mine.
Yeah.
But the north, wherever it is in your home, relates to your career and your life path. The northeast is about knowledge and learning. It's about spirituality. Using the northeast adds in that extra energetic support for you.
Right.
Next we have the east. That is about family, but it's about the past as well. So this is the place where we put things that we do not want to grow. So that might be your tax bills, or if you are divorced, that would be where you would keep your decree nisi. It'll be where we put those older pictures of the kids. And you know, if you've got credit card bills, you put them there. You know,
Fair
things
enough.
you don't want to grow.
Yeah.
Then we have the southeast. That's your money. Money, wealth, abundance and blessings. So, you know, if things are tight financially, let's have a look there and see what message you're giving the universe, if you like.
Yeah.
Does it feel abundant and wealthy, or is this where you keep your tatty old trainers? You know, let's think about these things. The south is about your fame and your reputation. It's not about being on Britain's Got Talent or anything like that. It's about how people see you, your public persona.
Yeah.
How they see you at the local shop. You know, simple as that.
Yeah.
Southwest is about love and relationships. So let's make that feel very, very good. This isn't the place for pictures of the kids or the pets. It's just you and your significant other.
Yeah.
If you haven't got one, so the energy of a significant other, the sort of person you'd like in your life. The West is about new beginnings and opportunities. Fabulous place to really, really kickstart if you're feeling a bit stuck. Northwest, and that's when we mentioned the travel and the helpful friends.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always checking out the northwest of my home. It happens to be my kitchen.
Fantastic.
It's a very clean, very tidy kitchen because I want to be traveling and getting out and away and seeing the world and spending time with people that I love.
Yeah.
And that means, you know, getting on a plane quite a lot of the time.
Fantastic. No, that's a great summary of it, and I've been reading quite a lot about that lately. It's quite fascinating. I know you have a book out, and it's really it's a great book. I'm yet to read all of it, but what I have read is fantastic. There we go. Here's the one we made earlier.
Thank
So
you.
do you want to kind of
Thank
tell people
you.
what it's about and why people should have it?
Yeah. So, welcome home, how stuff makes or breaks your relationship. Now, this is for everybody. It's not just about relationships. It's about absolutely everything to do with the home. And it came out, believe it or not, from COVID. So I got very sick with COVID before it was fashionable to do that. Before everybody was talking about COVID, I got quite sick with it, and so ill that I thought I was going to die. Now, at this point, my child, my beloved, is in the States, and I thought, crikey, I'm going to die without her knowing how I do interiors therapy. She's grown up with it. She's, you know, she's led what other people would consider a charmed life.
Yeah.
And I think that's because she's had interiors therapy around her whole life. So I wrote it down for her. I wrote down the basics of what she'd need to know.
Yeah.
And then about 10 weeks later, when I'd recovered, she took a look at this and said, "Mummy, it's a book." And sure enough, a publisher thought it was a book as well.
Yeah.
It's a bestseller. It's won awards.
Congratulations.
And it's a really easy... Thank you. I love it. My second child. It's a gentle way of moving into looking at your home differently. And if you've made a start with it, you'll know that it'll say, right, let's think about this, and then let's go and have a cup of tea. You know, it's I'm told it's a little bit like having me on your shoulder saying, really? Yeah? Are you sure about that? I'm really making you think about, you know, is that ugly vase that your great aunt gave you, or gave your mother even when she got married, and now it's on your fireplace and you still hate it, is that adding to your life, or is it actually taking really something away from it?
Yeah.
And I'm told it's life-changing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
and I think
that,
it's such a great concept because, Feng Shui is obviously amazing. Clearly, we've discussed that. But the way you're doing the interior therapy side of things and everything else, it just brings that additional dimension to everything into kind of recent kind of modern day living as well. And I think that's amazing. So if somebody was going to buy your book or wanted to have a look about, where would they go to find more information?
Well, so obviously I would always say to you, go to your local bookstore and ask for it there, because let's keep local bookstores going. But if you can't do that, then Amazon does have it on paperback, Kindle and Audible. You can find me on Facebook at Interiors Therapy, on Instagram at interiors_therapy, and www.interiorsTherapy.com. And those taster calls I mentioned, the inspiration, 30 minutes. Get me on WhatsApp, show me around your home, and I will give you immediate guidance on what I can see that might be causing any issues that you've got, or what you can do to make you even more successful.
Well, thank you so much. And if you would love to, I mean, there is so much more we can talk about on this.
You're abundantly welcome, Jason. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. It really does mean a lot to me and my team. Check out the website at homehealthexpert.co.uk for more information, to check out the services that we can help with for you and your family and improve your home's health, and also for the top tip guides that we have available for you. You can submit listener questions through our website and also by emailing our team at info@homehealthexpert.co.uk or by searching for Home Health Expert on Instagram and Facebook. We will try our absolute best to get round to your questions and help your family out to improve your home's health. Don't forget to subscribe to Heal Your Home wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube if you're watching along. Thanks again for listening, it really does mean a lot. We could not do this without you, and in actual fact it would be completely pointless. So please send in your questions, and I look forward to you joining me in the next episode of Heal Your Home. Your health, your future, it all starts here.